Hey, how's it going? So my name is Dr. Chandler here in San Diego, California. This is the first episode of what I'm going to be calling drop-in sessions with Dr. Chandler, aka myself. And why am I creating these episodes? Well, because my heart told me that I needed to. I'm listening to that intuition of just getting out there and speaking in front of this camera, which is something that I have realized and honestly forgotten over the course of, the last couple of years or so. I recently graduated from chiropractic college. I'll give you a little bit of a backstory on me just so you can learn a bit about me, join me, drop into this journey with me. And, if you learn something from this video and you gain some new clarity for yourself, that is my intention with these videos and this series that I'm creating, which is just all about just following your heart, following not because somebody has told you to do something or you think that you need to be doing something in order to be making more money or in order to attract that person in your life or to, you know, basically just do what everyone else is telling us to do, right? Because we're bombarded with information these days through advertisements, through the algorithms that, basically keep us locked into this content world that we're in now. So I'm creating this because I have struggled immensely over the last year, and I'm finally coming out of the darkness, you could say, which has been a long journey for me. Um, and I'll just drop right back in just so you can get a little bit more understanding of who I am, what I'm about. And, if you're vibing so far, great. And if you decide to just, drop out of here anytime, feel free to do that. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to start creating from my heart. So, um, basically, back in, let's go all the way back to college. I was a Division III college athlete. I played college soccer, and I really, really was passionate about soccer for most of my life from the time I was 4 up until about 18 or 19 years old, give or take. And I literally wanted to be a professional soccer player. Like every day, it's all I thought about. I would just dream about it. I would visualize myself scoring goals, being the best that I could be. And one day I would go pro. And I got to college, a Division III team, but a very high level Division III team that made it to the NCAA Sweet 16. And I was even nominated Rookie of the Year at one point, not to toot my own horn, but I freaking worked hard. And I got to a point where in college, I was starting to find myself burning out. The 2 practices a day, waking up early in the morning, really like I wanted to experience some of college, but I felt like I couldn't because, all I was thinking about and doing on a day-to-day basis was basically soccer. Soccer was life. And I loved soccer, but I started to feel the shifts after I had a cousin who commit suicide while I was in college, who took his own life. And, I'm not going to go too into the details of that, but it was the first moment in my life when I received that call from my parents, and I was like in the library studying, and I just was in shock. My whole body got chills, and I even have like the hair standing up on my arms right now as I tell you this story. Is like it was this pivotal moment in my life where I'm in the library and I'm like, holy crap, life is so precious, and at any moment in time, like the lights could be out, this could be over. And so from that moment on, I started to like pay attention to different things. It was like someone had like reset something in my brain that was like, hey, why are you even here? What is the purpose of life? Why do you even do what you do? Like, why are you going to school and getting a college degree? And so that got me on a path of like watching Casey Neistat videos, who was a vlogger. And I just wanted to better understand like life and like what is creativity. And so I really had a passion deep down inside me that wanted to come out, that was about creating films and photography and all that kind of stuff. And so maybe you have something inside of you right now too that you're itching to do more of, but you feel like, well, I can't make money at this and it's just a hobby. It's like, just ask yourself, like, take a pause and be like, this is your one life. And if this is your one life, wouldn't you love to spend more of it doing the thing that you actually want to be doing on a deeper level? So just process that for a minute. But for me, it was film and photography at the time. So I was binge watching Casey Neistat videos in my dorm room in upstate New York when it was freezing cold, negative temperatures. And I remember being like, oh man, I gotta start a vlog, or I gotta film stuff. So I ended up actually dropping out of college. I flew back home to San Diego. I started working restaurant jobs, as a server and a server's assistant, and serving smoothies and doing all sorts of different random jobs. But on the side, I saved up my money and I bought camera equipment and I started taking photos. And I would even hop over fences of this neighborhood that was like super, super like wealthy area, gated community, and I would just take photos. And how I got really good with photography was taking photos of people's houses with like their Mercedes Benz in the driveway, or their Bentleys, or whatever, their nice luxurious cars. And I would just be like, man, one day that'll be me. And so I would take photos of their houses and I would layer it, with sunsets. And I even took an online course on like creating photography professionally for real estate. And I built up a portfolio. And then one project led to another. I was just creating more and more content. It was surfing edits, it was just random stuff, comedy, sometimes just edits with music and footage. And then eventually, I actually met some friends who had the same passion for film and photography. So one project led me to another, and I ended up meeting some really cool guys, and we started creating more. And then we decided to create a company together, and we called that PSG, or Property Showcase Group. And it's still a company to this day. My buddy Ethan runs it still, and he's crushing it. And anyways, we created this company. Eventually, it segued into real estate because we kept getting these real estate projects and realized that the real estate industry just is dying for good marketing, better content, all those sorts of things. And that was kind of around the time when people started doing the drone videos and all that kind of stuff. And so we started doing that in San Diego, and then eventually, like, flash forward 2 years into it, and we're traveling around the country doing some of the biggest projects in the country, like the highest tower, or the highest residential and commercial building in all of Tennessee. We're doing multi-million-dollar projects with developers, commercial, residential brokers, just any type of real estate listing. We did the most expensive home in La Jolla, California. Like, I'm on these flights and in these projects, and I'm thinking, how the hell did I get here? Like, I was just like a guy who picked up a camera, wanted to film, and then here I was traveling the country, getting to do what I love, until I hit this moment where I was like, do I really love filming real estate projects? Do I really want to spend 8 to 9 hours of my day editing real estate projects? And so there was this moment where that spark started to kind of fade. And I realized that, and I noticed, like, every day I wasn't focused on film and photography anymore. My once passion started to fade, and it became this thing of chasing more money. I wanted more money. I wanted to hit more numbers. Can we land more clients? Can I focus on building this business? Because I started to, and I even like had some falling outs with friends, but we're still talking to this day, but it's nothing like, in the moment it was heated, like, and a lot of it just came down to this desire to make money. It all became about money. And it's like, I don't think that money is the root of all evil. If people are out there trying to tell or convince you that money is the root of all evil, money can bring so much amazing experiences, prosperity, generosity into life. And so it wasn't that money was the problem, it was that I was the problem. And I had lost my focus on focusing on the love of film itself, and I instead started focusing on how do we make more money and focusing on the money in business, which sometimes focusing on the business and how to make more money is a thing that is necessary when you're building a business. But if it is the only thing that is driving you, which it was and had shifted for me in that moment, the money started to now feel like it was dictating my life. And after about 2 years, we had built the company to over 6 figures in about 2 years or so. I think it might have even been a year, give or take. And the take home was decent, but after taxes and all that stuff, it afforded me a lifestyle where I could go out to any restaurant that I wanted, and it felt like I could take care of myself, as a single guy in San Diego living by the beach, renting in places like Encinitas, Cardiff. Like I felt I bought a BMW even because I was like trying to boost my ego. And all those things were like cool and brought me a lot of, kind of, you could say, like instant joy, or maybe it felt good for like a fleeting moment in time. And I'm not trying to drag this story out, but I really want to just share in these videos and express from the bottom of my heart like what is going through in these moments, because I think just sharing your story, if you're someone who has some experience, everyone has a unique experience in life. You don't have to necessarily have started a business, or you don't have to have, you haven't, sorry, word salad here, but you don't have to like be this like multimillionaire or like this crazy person, like a professional athlete or anything, to share your story. You can be just like a regular average person. And I don't think any of us are average by any stretch of the imagination. Like I'm just a guy in a room filming this. And I think, if you're watching this feeling like, oh, wow, I need to be this, like, I need to have this cool story in order to share my story. It's like, no, your story is uniquely yours, and that's a gift. We all have that. Just like a fingerprint is unique. We all have a unique fingerprint. So we all have a unique story to share. And so this is a part of my story. I basically got trapped in the money, and I realized like I need to get out of this. And it wasn't till about COVID time to where back in 2020, to where I'm filming projects and even putting on a mask. At this point, we're doing virtual tours, websites, social media management with this digital agency. And now I'm just completely like, I need to get the hell out of this business. So I ended up selling my equity, which, wasn't much at the time. And, for a long time afterwards, I would beat myself up and be like, did I make the right decision? Should I have left that business, which was on the path to just continue to grow and continue to just build me more of this like money, which I was just so hungry for. And then, looking back, I'm like, no, I absolutely made the right decision, because what I had trapped myself into is thinking that money is everything in life, and it's not. Money is just a byproduct of the value that you're providing for people and just who you're being. Money is an exchange of energy at the end of the day. And when you exchange energy with somebody, they are going to pay you for your services, for that energy that you have given to them. And so in COVID time, I decided, hey, I'm going to go back to school. I felt like there was this part of me that felt unfulfilled with my life. Like I didn't finish the circle that I needed to finish when I was an undergrad. I really was like, I left college, after 2 years. Then I was like, after dropping out, I always had this thing in the back of my head that said like, why didn't you just finish your schooling? And so I didn't want to have that lingering feeling. So there was a part of me, I went on a long 10-mile run. And that was just, a typical thing I would do on a weekly basis, is go for like 5 to 10-mile runs. And on this 10-mile run, I just had this like download, this feeling that you get when you're on a runner's high. If you've ever experienced a runner's high where you're like, man, you're just like dropped in to this like frequency, this level. And there was this like thought that came into my head that like, you need to help people, you need to serve people. That's all that it basically said. And in that moment, I'm like, dang, I gotta like do something where I can help people. And so the first thought that came to my mind is, chiropractic because I grew up with chiropractic. My dad's a chiropractor and has been for over 40 years. And I know that chiropractic helped me tremendously throughout my life and just keeping me healthy and not just, healthy. It helped me like focus better, helped me perform better on the soccer field. So I was like, I always felt like I had this upper edge when it came to my life. And it was because of chiropractic and really turning the light on inside of me, connecting my brain to the rest of my body, which allowed me to perform better in everything that I did. But in that moment, I was just like, you know what, chiropractic, that's what I got to do. And so I was like, I basically signed up for chiropractic college. I went back to I went back to undergrad. Needed to finish some of those requirements, get some kinesiology degree in there, and then when I enrolled in chiropractic college, I just was like so passionate about learning. So it's been about 4 years now, or 4 or 5 years, you could say, since so let me think about this. I've been graduated for a year now and working as a licensed chiropractor. But for the 4 years that I was in school, it was just like I would be just head in the books. I'd be in the library, like reading philosophy. And that's really what I felt the most passionate about in chiropractic college was the philosophy. This idea that we can, by adjusting and aligning somebody in like what we call a subluxation in the body, which is a interference that's causing basically a distortion of the signals from the brain to the rest of the body through the nerves so the body can heal itself. Not to get all like crazy and all scientific here, but so if you've lost me at this point, I'm sorry. But basically, that philosophy, which I felt so close to my whole life, was something I just kept devouring more of. Reading the green books is what they're, like the Bibles of chiropractic. I would read those. As far as the hard sciences go, the biochemistry, all the infectious diseases, a lot of chiropractic, it's very similar to like medical school where you learn so much information and you're in the weeds. And a lot of it just will not translate. You'll never use it ever again in your life, like 99.9% of it. So I kind of just did what I needed to do to get through those classes. And then, some classes I was interested in, whether it was a technique hands-on class, learning adjusting techniques, or what I really gravitated towards was more of the analytical side, which was like the upper cervical, the Gonstead techniques, all these different techniques that they teach. But I learned it all and just was hungry for the knowledge. And after graduating, after getting even licensed, I felt like, man, I had completed this full circle in my life that I had been missing, which is like to get a legitimate degree. I just felt like accomplished. I felt proud of myself. And it was like all the blood, sweat, and tears like had built up to this moment. And I just felt like, I felt like I could just take a deep breath. It's like, man, like when you're in a graduate program, if you're in one now or if you've experienced one or you're thinking about one, it is so much time sitting down at a desk, head down, either with your iPad, computer nowadays, or writing out notes. Like there's so much information that needs to be learned and you're tested on a weekly basis. Like we would have like, it felt like, just tests were nonstop. You're constantly stressed about exams. It's like probably some of the most stressful time of my life was in chiropractic college, hands down. And so it really was a marathon completing that whole degree. If you're on that journey now and you're feeling like at times you want to quit, like totally understand that too. This is there. I think the thing that I learned going through that entire experience was like in the beginning, like knowing my why. And my why was as simple as like, I want to help people, but I also know like there is a part of me that I want to close this circle of like education. Like I want to get this certificate. I want to finish like something substantial in my life. Like that was my challenge to myself from the very beginning, which was like, I don't care what it takes. I'm not even the best test taker. I'm not even the best student, but I'm going to finish and complete this cycle of my life, which is my graduate doctorate of chiropractic. So I did that, patting myself on the back. If you've done that, pat yourself on the back. And now, after being in practice for a year, so I've practiced in a high volume practice in Kearney Mesa, and then I went to an upper cervical office in Escondido, and I learned so much from those experiences, and I have nothing but good things to say about those experiences, as hard as they were. I, when you're working for somebody else, it can feel like, like it's not really under your control. You're under somebody else's helm. They're driving the ship, and you have to be okay with taking those orders and all those things. And something that I'm not necessarily the greatest at in the world is like, I'm not a very good employee, I guess you could say. I'm not very like hireable. And like when I've applied to jobs, I just don't do a good job, I guess, at getting hired. Like, or I don't say what needs to be said in order to get hired. Like, and maybe if you're one of those people, then you're meant to start a business or do something on your own and take that risk, like myself. So I ended up, after those experiences, starting my own practice, just, starting small, kind of a micro and niche practice, focusing on upper cervical, but doing other things. And anyways, I share all this to kind of just explain to you like what my story is a little bit, since this is like an episode one of these drop-in sessions. But I also, if you want to comment, I'd love to hear from you. What are some things, some topics that you're maybe you're struggling with, that you want to learn more about, that you want to dive into with me on this journey here? Would love to hear from you and start building this community online here. For me, like what I realize and have realized is like, I love chiropractic. I love all that it does for people, and I see the results. Like people come in with headaches, migraines, fatigue, vertigo or dizziness, lack of energy, brain fog, post-concussion symptoms, bowel issues like trouble going to the bathroom. It could be heart, lung issues, like all sorts of problems people come in with. And usually people come in to see a chiropractor as like a last resort. They have back pain, neck pain, and they've had enough. And then they're like, I'm gonna just come in and get care finally, because like this is just creating such a tension in my life, and it's preventing me from doing what I love, maybe spending time with kids, going on trips, or doing things like surfing, running, biking, whatever it is, right? Eventually the pain typically is what drives people to come in. And I love seeing people get the results. Like that is awesome, but it's not why I'm in this profession, and it's not why I decided to get my degree in chiropractic. Was not just to relieve people of symptoms. Like the symptoms and the pain that you're experiencing are surface level when it comes to what you're capable of and what your optimal function is. Because, for example, I'm not in pain right now. I don't have any health conditions that I'm aware of at this moment in time, but it goes beyond my feelings. Like I feel full of energy. I have a sense of clarity in my being. I'm like full of energy, and but for me, it's about the connection with myself. And no matter what the modality is that you're using, whether it's like acupuncture or stretching or like, chiropractic adjustments or meditation, love Joe Dispenza's work because it's all about like aligning yourself with the outcomes and the higher representation of who you ultimately want to become, what you want to achieve, and aligning yourself in that moment to draw things towards you, to magnetize and attract the life that you want, regardless of the experience that you're having right now or the circumstance in the three-dimensional material world. Because what Joe Dispenza talks about is the quantum field, the infinite space around us, the empty stuff that we can't see, just like a Wi-Fi signal travels through. We don't see the Wi-Fi signals. You don't see the quantum field. You don't see it. You can't sense it, but that quantum field is what creates the material substance that we call a desk or our bodies and all that stuff. So our thoughts do create our reality, and the quantum mechanics and quantum physics that are out there explain that our reality is created because basically, if you were to see like a projector, our brain is taking in all this light, all these sensations, but then what is actually being filtered through our reticular activating system is the light, and everything is being filtered through our brains, and then we're not seeing reality as it is. I'm seeing reality as I am right here in this moment. So if you're seeing reality as, oh, it's hard all the time, I'm stressed out, I'm anxious, depressed, or you're seeing it as I'm happy, I'm joyful, life is exciting, it's fun, you're choosing one of those realities. And that might be hard to explain to somebody who's like clinically depressed and all that stuff. And I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna try to therapize anyone because I'm not a therapist or clinic, and I'm not giving medical information here. But we are quantum beings that choose our reality. I fully believe that. And so if you're feeling like, and I'm gonna be completely brutally honest and vulnerable here, over the course of the last year or two, this has been the hardest, most challenging time of my life. Hands down, I have been so stressed, fatigued, like beyond imaginable, to the point where I'm like going to bed and I can't sleep at night. I'm thinking about money, bills, debts that I got to pay off. And it has been so freaking stressful for me, to the point where I've like had contemplative thoughts of suicide. I've had like, I'm being completely honest with you, because like when you're in those low vibrational states, those lower energy places, you're gonna have some dark thoughts. But I truthfully believe that we're not meant to just be experiencing these like rainbows and sunshines and like beautiful things all the time in life. We're meant to experience the highs and lows. And sometimes when you go into these lows, they're freaking dark. And when you go into those dark places, like the more you try to avoid them, if you've ever like had those weird thoughts or something like dark inside of you come up and you're like, I'm gonna push that thing away, that will only amplify it. Resist it and it will persist, is what the saying goes. And for me, having like gone to some of my darkest places, and I have experience with plant medicine, mushrooms, ayahuasca, different medicinal medicines, and always doing them in situations where I'm like, it's prepared by a shaman, or I try to do it in the most traditional sense, although I have tripped a lot of times on just mushrooms, going on hikes and things like that. I fully believe in plant medicine when it's used in the right intentional way, because I do believe that our intention and our energy behind the use of these plants makes the world of a difference. If you're completely disregarding the plant's wisdom, and you're just taking these plants and you're just breaking them down to the molecular level and just being like, oh, I'm just taking psilocybin, I don't think that that's the way that these like plants work. I think that they hold, just like water holds a frequency and a coherence and an energy, these plants have that as well. And so if you're not listening to the plants and you're just like abusing them like a substance, then they're going to smack you in the face, and they're not going to give you what you want. They're going to give you what you need. And sometimes they'll tell you, hey, it's time to cut it out and you're not going to be using this anymore. And this is why I'm big on everything that I do with an aligned intention, rather than feeling like I need to do something or I have to do something. I'm choosing to do this thing because of X, Y, and Z. So we are entering this part of the video where I'm going through that we choose our reality. I'm putting that out there. I fully believe it. And if you don't believe that you choose your reality, then you're free to not believe in freedom of choice, free will. And you can just let the world kind of take you like you're a kite and the wind's just kind of taking you along. But if it takes you to a place you don't want to be, then I guess that was your decision because I feel like, and I don't know if this makes any sense or if this is a download, but it's like if we're able to come up with the concept that we have free will, to me that's, and believe in like, and understand that there's a greater creator to all this, right? Because if the Big Bang created this world, as they say, and everything's just like a random mutation and evolution, then, if it's all just this like random soup, then why is there divine organization in our environment? Like, why is there the things like Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio and things like that? That couldn't exist if it was just all random. Like beautiful symphonies and music and art and just creative organization that we see in nature wouldn't exist. So the thought that we can come up with, oh, there's this beautiful creator and that I choose this reality here in this moment, to me shows me that there is a creator, that I'm choosing this reality. And I don't even care what you believe in, if it's a God, spirituality, like I think it's all great, but I do think that what you choose to focus on, you tend to bring more into your life, because what you think about, you habitually act about, and your actions, eventually will manifest things. And so it's like, yes, actions matter in the sense of manifestation. Like the law of attraction has the word action in it. So if you're just thinking that things are going to come to you, that's never going to happen. You have to take action, like I'm doing right here in this moment. And it feels like a little foolish, like what the hell am I doing? Because I haven't put enough time. I haven't put myself in front of the camera as much as I would like. I'm just getting this ball rolling again, because I just felt like, man, I've been sitting on the sidelines for so long. And so if you're somebody who's sitting on the sidelines and you want to be in the game, choose to put yourself in the game. Like that's, when I was a soccer player, if I was put on the sidelines, I was pissed off. So maybe you're sitting down and you're wanting to create something, but you need to actually get pissed off at yourself. Like you got to get angry. Like if I was ever benched, and it didn't happen very often because I fucking worked my ass off and I wanted to be a starter, I was so pissed if I got subbed out early on in the game. Like I don't want to be on the sidelines of life. I want to play and participate in this game of life. To me, that's like, we get this one life to play and participate and have fun. And what I ended up, for instance, focusing on through a lot of my, to decode the patterns of my life, is I would accomplish a lot of things, but I was so focused on accomplishing things. I was so focused on accomplishing things in my life and trying to attain these outcomes that I wouldn't necessarily appreciate and enjoy the process, and I was never present. So looking back, I'm on the verge of turning 30 years old here, coming up in September. And it's a big milestone, it feels like, but it's a great milestone because I feel like, my early 20s and all that stuff, it was like, you think you fucking know everything. It's that phase of life where everything's working out. You have more support from your parents and all that stuff. And, you can just do whatever you feel like. And, essentially life just works out. And you're like, it's a good time in life. And it's also very confusing because you don't really know who you are. And so like going into hitting this 30-year mark for me, it's like, oh, I'm starting to learn like who I am and what I'm going to stand for, and like what I'm not going to stand for is like sitting on the sidelines. Like I am a freaking player. I want to play in this game. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy it while I'm here. And I'm definitely like, I'm not going to know all the answers to life. Like I definitely am never going to have everything figured out. Like I'm probably, you know, I don't even know what enlightenment really is. If there is such a thing, I think enlightenment is pure presence. It's like being present in the moment and realizing that there is no such thing as time, and space is all just a thing that we think about. We think about time as this like linear thing. Um, and some will even say it's like the first evolution or technology of consciousness. Deeper, mind blowing concept right there. The roof of my mouth is itchy for some reason. Been going for a while. So, mouth's getting dry. I'll probably try to wrap this up. And I'm not even sure how long I'm going to do these episodes for. Still so itchy. I don't know if you ever get that, but drop in the comment below if you get like a itchy mouth ever on the top of the roof of your mouth, or if you're like an Ayurveda doctor, you know, whatever, acupuncturist, like explain to me why the roof of the mouth gets itchy sometimes. Would love to know. So to wrap things up, I hope that if you're watching this right now, and I'm so grateful that you're here too, if you are, because like you could be watching anything in the world, you could be listening to any podcast, any whatever, but you're choosing to watch this video and be with me here now in this moment. And so I just want to say I'm so grateful for you. And if this video is lighting you up, please, 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 please do me a favor and start writing down in a journal, like maybe what are you unhappy with? Like sometimes it starts with like focusing on like, what the hell am I pissed off about? Like write out your feelings. Like I'm big on journaling, and like, you know, when I'm going through tough times, I just journal out my thoughts and express on paper and write it out and be like, and then I see it for what it is and I'm like, oh, like I just needed to get that out of my system. Or maybe it's going for a run, exercising. Like when you're feeling low or down, like life has its ebbs and flows, and so it's natural to feel those lows. But if you're going like this and you're staying there in those lows, then something's got to shift your physiology, wake you the fuck up, and hopefully maybe it's this video waking you up. Like snap out of it. Like because I've been in those states where I'm like depressed for months on end, or like I'm frozen and paralyzed and I'm like worrying and fearful all the time. And then I'm just like, oh, I haven't worked out in a week. I go and work out and I feel better. Like sometimes you got to shake up the snow globe, do whatever you got to do, and get off the sidelines and start putting yourself in the game. And if maybe, and it's not always the case, you don't always have to be in the game. Sometimes you need to rest and recover. And so if you're in that wave and in that moment of rest and recovery, which sometimes as you're, you know, you're going through these waves where you need to consume and take in information from the world and just enjoy like a Netflix series, or like, you know, don't beat yourself up because you decide to watch on a Netflix series or you decide to binge watch some YouTubes once in a while. Like give yourself permission. Like that's another thing that I want to hammer down on this like whole series is like give yourself permission to have what you want to have in this moment, even if you don't have it. Give yourself permission to have success in this moment. Give yourself permission to see yourself with millions of subscribers on your YouTube channel, or millions of Substack, you know, whatever subscribers, whatever it is, the outcome is that you desire. Give yourself permission to just have it in this moment. Maybe it's just getting in front of the camera. Give yourself permission to get in front of the camera, get out of your own way, and fucking put yourself out there. Excuse my French again. Like, I know that this lights me up. This video is not making me any money. Me spending this time here talking in front of this camera is not making me any money, but I'm enjoying it. It feels fun to me. Like I've been missing this, but I've been so fearful and in this like crazy, like just feeling the stress of life to the point where I've not been putting myself out there. Instead, I've just been kind of on the sidelines watching everyone. And so I want to get in the game. And so this is my attempt to get in the game, have fun, and just not take myself so seriously and just express and kind of like hopefully connect with more people online and just learn about myself in this process and all those kind of things. And it's like people are going to look at me and be like, dude, you're a freaking weirdo. You suck at talking in front of the camera. Like, there's also going to be people that vibe with this. And I'm like, cool. The people that don't vibe with this and when you're creating shit, there's going to be people that do not vibe with your stuff. And there's going to be people that vibe super hard with your stuff. Why focus on the people that don't vibe with your stuff or the bad comments or the negativity? Like that has been over the course of the last couple years, the reason I've gotten into those ruts and the patterns that I didn't necessarily finish and explain to you was I was focusing, even though I've accomplished a decent amount in my life, it's like I hadn't even given myself permission to pat myself on the back for all those achievements. Instead, I would focus on all the things that I didn't do, like to make that situation even better. So it's like me looking back at my whole life and only thinking about, wow, I could have done more. And like, it's like, no, fuck that. I, in those moments, did the best that I could. And I'm not going to live my life in regret and be like, oh, I should have done this and I should have done that. It's like, no, I'm going to, from this day forward, I'm going to choose to put myself in the best possible energy, and I'm going to align my brain and my heart to do the thing that I want to do and do the thing that I love, even if it doesn't make any sense in this moment, even if I'm not making money from it, even if people call me crazy or people talk shit about me. I'm going to put myself out there because that's what this is about. It's about choosing your reality by putting yourself out there, even if you feel uncomfortable doing it. Oftentimes, if we follow the uncomfortable things in our life, as the cliche goes, we will challenge ourselves more, we'll learn a lot more. Focusing on the comfortable things and getting in the habit of only doing things that feel good, like scrolling your iPhone or eating chocolate all the time, eating sugar, drinking soda, not going to the gym and just laying on the couch watching Netflix all the time or just binge watching YouTube or only reading books, like that is going to fucking ruin you. It's like I don't think that life is meant to be hard all the time in the struggle, but I do somewhat agree with the quote that like hard now, easy later. Now, I'd be careful with labeling everything as hard because I think that it can be like a playground and joyful if you see it, these like challenging things as like a playground and a joyful experience. Like see that stuff as like fun, exciting. Like otherwise you're going to be miserable if you can't do the monotony of life, which is like the day-to-day stuff, like talking in front of camera, editing, or meeting with a client, or just like doing like writing up something like an email. Like you gotta like train yourself. Like our brains are meant to be programmed, but they're going to be programmed by basically what we choose to program them with. So if you are not choosing to program yourself to believe that, man, these like, I'm having so much fun, baby, like all this is so fun, like I love getting to do what I get to do, I love the work that I do. If you just it's not that you're lying to yourself, but like there is an element of like conditioning yourself and framing yourself for success, for joy, for happiness by just constantly talking positively to yourself and seeing things as, no, this is a fun experience. And like, of course, there's moments in our life where like stuff's not fun, like a friend dying or, you know, anything, right? Your dog dying, like that stuff's not fun. You got to feel into those moments too. Like but like don't let the low moments, like to conclude, don't let the low moments ruin you and let those things ruminate in your mind. Focus on the things that are good in your life and be grateful. And that's why I like to journal like gratitude. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful for coffee. I'm so grateful for tea, whatever it is your choice of drink. I'm so grateful for personal development books. I'm so grateful for my friends, my close relationships, my family, my girlfriend, like whatever it is, like the more we can express this gratitude for each like moment, the more you're going to be able to just experience these day-to-day moments and be like, man, this is like what a dream life this is. And then like, and you might even be like just living out of your apartment, but it's like you're still experiencing that like single one bedroom apartment as like, man, it's the best thing in the world. And so it's like the more we can just do that for ourselves, the more you're going to experience reality as you want to see it, which is a choice ultimately, not something that just happens to you. Life doesn't just happen to you. Like everything is a choice. And I'm not going to go into like, oh, but what about people who are born into poverty and all this stuff? It's like, this is like, that's a whole nother like can of worms I'm not going to go into in this video. Um, but like oftentimes just to like add something there, it's like when I've gone to places that are like third world countries and people are like poor and they don't have shit, typically the kids actually have more of a smile on their face and they're actually happier because they have less and they've just grown up with less, and they honestly appreciate life a lot more than, you know, first world countries where people have so much shit and they can Amazon stuff to their door in 24 hours. People are fucking miserable here in the US complaining about fucking everything and like not taking ownership for the fact that like, dude, you can literally do anything in this reality with all the tools and amazing things that we have. It's like if you're choosing to focus on the bad here in the US, like that's your problem. Like if you're choosing to focus on the economy just being bad all the time, it's like you're just letting the world like reflect back to you what you're focusing on. Like life is a reflection. Our brains are interpreting a reflection. So that's it for this first video, this first drop-in session. I appreciate you for dropping in with me on this wave of life. And I just made that up in the moment, but I'm going to ride with it. So we're just going to ride into the sunset together here on this first episode. If you like it, drop a comment. And I'm looking forward to connecting more, just sharing more. And so far, I haven't figured out a schedule for this, but we're just going to, you know, part of it is just going to be me when I feel like, man, this is it. I'm going to drop in with you. I'm going to send it. I'm going to talk about stuff. I'm going to get vulnerable. I'm going to share from my heart because it's fun. I like doing this. I want to inspire people to just like take action, like, but like wake up from like the illusion that, you know, you might feel like, oh, like life sucks. Everyone's on their phones and all. Like, get out of that. Like we gotta wake people up. Like let's wake up other leaders out there to get people going. Like because what's a lot scarier is living in a world where everyone fucking hates their life. Like no, we want to live in a world where everyone's like excited to like share and communicate and get up and like create and like all right. So I'm done. I love you. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time.